Hey everyone. I'm Emily Lazar, and yes, we're talking about music distribution and NFTs and Web3 right now. I front the Transmedia project September morning. That's what I look like on stage, if you guys want to know. It takes 3 hours of makeup time to actually look like that. It's quite a feat, but it works out well. People kind of like it. So I kind of want to talk about music, Web3, NFTs, and why they're so important to musicians, and especially independent musicians, and like the freedom that they kind of grant independent musicians. In order to talk about Web3 music distribution, we kind of have to talk about Web2 music distribution a little bit, because I think that you guys kind of need to know why it's so important and what Web2 has kind of done to musicians and their financial status in music. So just to talk a little bit about me and what I am and what I do, September Morning is a transmedia project. That means that it is a project that is based off of a central storyline with central characters, and that project permeates into all different types of media, like comic books, graphic novels, live performances, music, media merchandise, NFTs, and other things. And it all kind of is centralized around a storyline and tells that storyline across the board. For me, it was really important to do something like this in music, because when I came into the music scene, streaming was just starting. Musicians weren't making money in Web 2. They weren't making any money in Web 2 streaming. The streaming platforms were just taking a lot from the artists, and because of that, it was making artists just stay on the road for a very long time, 8 months out of the year, which is what we had to do for many, many years, just to kind of keep the band up and running. We're a medium-sized rock metal band. We're not up there with Slipknot or something like that, but we still perform with them and tour with them. Rob Zombie, Slipknot, Five Finger Death Punch, and stuff like that, but our guarantees are a lot lower. In music, for us, the guarantee was here, and then making our money on the road was all about merchandise, and the merchandise was about 2-3 times more than the actual guarantee. So for us, that was kind of why we were on the road, to sell that T-shirt, to do that live performance, to sell that T-shirt. So it was a really backward sort of thing. To give you a little background of streaming services and why they're not really giving us enough money, Spotify gives you 0.00818 cents per stream. Amazon Music gives you 0.0402. Apple gives you 0.008, Tidal 0.01284, YouTube 0.002 cents per stream. So if you understand how many streams you're going to need to actually make enough money to go to Starbucks and buy a coffee, it's a lot. So that being said, and knowing how music is and how much it costs to make an album, which is about 20 grand for my band, that's a lot of streaming. That's a lot of music. That's a lot of stuff that you have to get done and put out there so that you can actually make that revenue, unless you go out on the road for 8 months, like I said. So we were out on the road for about 8 months out of the year. Then COVID hit, and that killed a lot of bands. Kind of died during COVID because they were reliant on that touring revenue, and because they couldn't get it, they could not survive. I was really lucky because in 2014 I was in a recording studio in Vegas with Kane Shurko, and we were writing some songs, and Kane was like, "Hey, do you know about this Bitcoin thing?" And I'm like, "What's a Bitcoin?" I didn't know what Bitcoin was. But he was talking to me about it, and he was like, "Yeah, it's this, cryptocurrency and this and that, the other thing." And I was like, "You know what, whatever." And I put some money in some Bitcoin, and I put it in a wallet, and then I went on the road, and I didn't even think about it. It just sat in that wallet. I started touring and touring and touring and touring. COVID hit, and I was like, crap, I don't have any money. And then I saw that wallet, and I was like, oh, crap, I have some money. And all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? maybe I should learn more about this cryptocurrency thing. Maybe I should learn more about this Bitcoin thing. Maybe I should understand it a little bit better. So I jumped onto Clubhouse, and I think we all have been on Clubhouse, especially during the pandemic. We all lived on Clubhouse. A lot of me and a lot of NFT people were just like on there 24/7. I mean, I would fall asleep with Clubhouse in the background and wake up, and some people were talking, and it was just like a whole thing. And we were talking about crypto, and we were talking about Bitcoin, and we were talking about NFTs. And I didn't really know what an NFT was. January 2021, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I have a transmedia project, and I do graphic novels through Image Comics and Top Cow Comics, and Mark Silvestri is my business partner, and we have this whole storyline, and we have all this stuff, and we have music, and we have this and that, and the other thing, and how can I use NFTs to propagate my story and to make some money when I'm not on the road, because I'm not on the road right now. So, fast forward a couple of months, I learned about NFTs. Daily Blockchain News picks me up as the first female rock metal musician to mint and sell an NFT on the blockchain. Yay! I made $1. I made more than $1. Actually, I made a lot more than I ever made last year in NFTs than I ever made on touring for the past 6 years. So that was really, really a good thing. And I wasn't on the road at all last year, by the way. Well, actually, that's not true. We went out for a month, but COVID shut everything down. We had all these canceled performances. We had a canceled festival with Incubus that was just trashed. We went all the way down to Florida to play it. We got there, we unloaded our gear, we set up. I'm sitting there backstage, and the tour manager comes over to me, and he's like, so we're not playing. And they didn't even pay us. So we lost a lot of money on that tour, but it doesn't matter because I made the money on NFTs, so I was okay. So for me, I was thinking when I got into NFTs, I was like, what am I going to do with these things? How am I going to use it to tell my story? How am I going to use it to actually help with music and pushing music, that narrative of independent musicians owning their own music and owning their own masters? And how can I use that to kind of propagate my story and make some money off of it? So I took my graphic novel artwork and animated it and stuck some music on it. And I thought to myself, I was like, when we tour, as I told you guys, our guarantees are and our merchandise is so why don't I use the NFT, which is selling art right now? Everybody was buying art. Music wasn't a big NFT thing back then. It was just kind of coming out. So I was like, okay, why don't I use this art to sell the music? So I did something where I took the art and I put it on there and I animated it and I put the music to it, and then I had it on OpenSea and it was running like a GIF. And then I did an unlockable where you got the download of the music with the NFT. And that was pretty cool because people actually started learning about my band that didn't know about rock music, didn't know about metal music, didn't know about whatever. They were just like, hey, this is actually really cool. And if you know anything about rock music and the musical landscape right now, you know that we're a very niche market. It's not like urban music or EDM or anything like that. And everybody in NFTs was doing urban or EDM, and I'm over here doing rock music hi. But I was number 18 on the music charts on OpenSea last year, you guys. So, it worked out. People learned about it, they started getting the music, and then I was like, okay, so this works. I can use the art to move that narrative with the music and get that out there to sell. So the only thing that's wrong with it is there weren't enough people. There were five pieces sold here, 5 pieces sold there, 5 pieces sold there, which was great, don't get me wrong, because of the cost basis of everything and how much I was getting back in return ROI. But the only problem was that vanity metric. That vanity metric, man, that one's not good because you need that vanity metric to tour. You need to know that there are more people than not out there that are interested in your music, because if you're actually doing a show, and I'm sitting here doing a show, and I have the 5 people that bought my NFT, that's not enough. We need hundreds and hundreds of people. So I looked at what was going on in generative art, And I was like, okay, so these guys are selling like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 pieces. That's a vanity metric I can get behind. So how do I stick my music in there and get that going on with the generative sort of situation? So for me, I started a project called September's Monsters. September's Monsters, there it is. Yeah. It's sold out. Yay! It's 1,000 pieces. We started with 1,000 pieces. There's a lot of projects out there that did 10,000, this and that. But I was like, this is music, and this is like my first time doing this thing, and I really want to do it right. And I also want to give a lot of value to my collector, because to me, the brilliance of music NFTs really comes down to the utility behind it, what you can really use those music NFTs to do. And there's so much you can use, the utility, so much. And so these monsters, they look cute. That's me in the middle, and then we have all these different ones, and it kind of goes along with the storyline of September Morning. If you're not familiar with that, I'll just give you a little elevator pitch. September Morning is a human reaper hybrid. She gives good souls second chances at life by swapping them out into other people's bodies when they die. In doing so, she kind of messes with Fate, who's the antagonist in the book. And Fate wants to get all the good souls out of the world and keep all the bad souls so the world will self-destruct. So September is trying to save all those good souls, so she starts an epic war between the living and the dead. So in September's Monsters, one of the Reapers that's under Fate is chasing her. And he's Stitch, and Stitch is the master of space and time. And Stitch takes September and fractionalizes her timeline into 1,000 different timelines. So you get 1,000 different looking Septembers. And we took a lot of pop art references because I'm a huge comic book nerd. I mean, I love Lord of the Rings, I love Batman, I love everything. So we took a bunch of different references and stuck them onto the Septembers and made our own little Septembers. Did 1,000 of them. And then I said, okay, we're going to put music with these. So I token gated a channel on my Discord, and I said, hey, if you buy this thing, right, you go on my Discord, you connect your wallet, and you get free music for life. In perpetuity, I will keep on putting music into that channel, and you guys can keep downloading it, and you actually own that music. Now, I'm not talking about publishing, I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about actually owning the download. And that's something that streaming is kind of nixed for a lot of us, right? You don't really own it, you just stream it, and I don't know, there's something to be said about being able to do something with a song anywhere, anytime you want to. And I kind of like that. It gave it a little bit more value, so we did that in the channel. I also gave a download of my graphic novel, so you get that as well. And we just got greenlit for another graphic novel through Image Comics, which is going to be coming out later this year. So that will go onto that channel as well. So I keep on putting more and more and more and more into the project. That being said, it's not just that project, right? It's not just those downloads, it's IRL stuff too. Because I'm a touring musician, I'm gonna go back on tour. I'm actually going back on tour in about a month with Orgy, if you know that band, it's like an industrial metal band. So we're gonna go out on the road with those guys for a month and a half. And I'm using this as a way of linking Web 2 IRL to Web 3. So when you have a September Morning Monster and you come to the show, you get 20% off our merch. You get access to VIP, acoustic performances if we do those before our show. You get access to any type of special thing that we do with the shows that you would have to pay something extra for. If you hold a monster, you get the velvet rope treatment, you get that opened up. So that's how we kind of link that. We're gonna be doing POAPs as well. We're gonna be doing special merch just for the monsters. There's a lot of things that we can do that. Utility, 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 utility. And when you own your own music and you own your own mastering, that's the freedom you get. You get direct to consumer. We can do whatever we want with these things. We can do I don't know, Matt from Avenged Sevenfold did a golf outing for his Death Bats Club, so we could do a golf outing. I mean, I don't play golf very well. I play golf like crap. But you understand what we can do. There's so much we can do with this utility. And it's really important. The direct to consumer, no third parties. Again, in Web 2, the breakdown of the money goes like this. It goes platform all the way down to artist. In Web 3, it goes artist all the way down to platform. And that's the narrative that we want to stick to. I really think that Web 3 is an amazing, amazing thing for independent musicians, independent artists. I think that it gives you freedom financially. You don't have to be a slave to the road anymore. You can take that money, you can like do so much with it. Like we're totally revamping our whole entire stage show for this year. I remade all of our costuming. And if you remember what I look like on stage, it's kind of crazy. So there's a lot to do with that costuming. There is so much you can do with Web 3. What do I think that we should do with Web 2? Like what should we do? Yeah, what should we do going forward with Web 2, and how is that going to like kind of come into Web 3? Well, it's already coming into Web 3. We see labels trying to get in there. We see pub houses trying to get in there. But I really think that if we keep our narrative and keep our independent musician and independent artist narrative very strong, we can kind of fight that and make sure that we keep on top and it still goes artist to platform and not platform to artist. And I think that's one of the most important things that we really need to watch out for. But as far as what can we do in Web 3 from here on out, I really believe that there are no limitations in Web 3. You can do whatever you want with the utility. It's kind of like throwing spaghetti against the wall. You just see what sticks. You see what your customer wants. You see what your collector wants. And then you kind of do that. So the only limitations really in Web 3 are the ones that we put on ourselves, the ones that we put in our own minds. So be creative, be independent, own your own stuff, own your own music, own your own publishing, and then you can do whatever you want with it, and you can make that money, and you can move forward with your career. Yeah, I'm Emily Lazar. Thank you guys so much for hearing me speak, and yeah. Have a good day, you guys. GM.